What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of the PS5 career mode. This is episode number 25. And we start today's stuff as we officially end season 2 with QPR after a fantastic first season in the top flight, avoiding relegation by several points in the end, and also of course reaching the FA Cup final. What happened in the FA Cup final? Less said the better, but anyway, it's still a fantastic season regardless for our first year in the top flight. And also as we officially end season 2 as well, you saw the 3 players that we will not have with us next season guaranteed: Tom Heaton and Albert Adoma retiring, and also we can see as well that Nketiah is going back to Man City from his loan spell. I also released a couple of players from our academy as well heading into season 3, and a brief look at the championship table as well, where as you can see it is indeed going to be Fulham and Sheffield United heading back to the Premier League, and it was also Aston Villa who won the playoffs. The 3 teams that went down in season 1 are back in the Premier League for season 3. So yes, season 3 begins today then, and as you can see as we start the campaign off here, as always I don't play the pre-season, but as you can see from the chairman here giving me the little welcome back email, if you will. The board and fans alike were delighted with how our first season in the Premier League went, and we're glad to have you remain at the club despite rumours of other clubs interested. We believe you can build on our strong campaign last year with another great season both in the league and the cup. We have full faith in you to deliver another memorable season. A very nice welcome back email, but not a very nice welcome back transfer budget. I could not believe this as I loaded up the save for season 3. The board have given us less money than we had last season for this summer transfer window. £18 million, not 80, not 80, but 18 million pounds. So for our transfer policy for the new season, the board have given this to me. Keep a tight grip on the wage structure and avoid high contracts once again. That's going to be the key this season. We're not getting the cash. We need to make sure we don't put players on really high salaries. If clubs are willing to pay over the odds for our players, start cashing in. We're going to need to do that now if we are to raise some proper money. And also start reforming our identity as well, signing primarily British and Irish players as well. Last season we kind of lost that a little bit due to how little money we had, so we had to rely on free agent signings and looking further afield for players to come in. This year though, we want to get some more British and Irish players back into the team and reform our identity as a mostly British and Irish Queen's Park Rangers side. As for on the pitch as well, the board say finishing mid-table this season, reach the last 16 in the FA Cup just like we did last season as well. Keep our defensive identity. We're known for strong defence, so keep it that way, but score more. We were the lowest scoring team last year. That was embarrassing. We only scored 40 goals all season long. This year we need at least 10 more, 50 plus goals minimum. And also last year as well, our home form was really poor, particularly at the start of the season. This year, make sure that the Kai and Prince Foundation Stadium is a fortress. No more than 5 league defeats all season long. Last year we had like 5 defeats at home before Christmas time. Can't afford to do that this season if we are to achieve those very strong objectives from the board. So looking at our team then heading into season 3, gotta be honest here, I really don't know what we're going to do with £18 million. I really don't. The board have said, you know, last season we didn't need to give you a big budget for you to succeed and have a great season, finishing in 13th place and also reaching the FA Cup final, so why can't you do it again? Well, as you look at the team here as well, the players that deals coming at the end of the year, some big names here: Jack Byrne, Chris Willock, Luke Amos, Charlie Kelman, Ilias Scher and Liam Kelly all have the deals that come at the end of the year, so I've got some big decisions to make as to who goes and who stays. And as for our transfer list, Stephen Bell, Jack Byrne is on there, as is Owens, Duke McKenna and a youngster at the academy who shows very little promise as well, so Byrne might well be going after coming in midway through season 1. As for the Youth Academy objectives this season, we've got to keep one scout in England as always due to the realism of that, looking for London based talent. Hire another top class youth scout. We need better academy players, man. Only right now the Bull is really exciting the fans, and also we want another graduate playing regularly in our first team. The Bull came out of the academy in season 1, he was fantastic. Where's the next Charlie Bull? Where is the next Charles Bull, man? Where is he going to come from? Well, hopefully we'll get another one from England. Looking for more London-based talents here with our scout going out once again. Yeah, I've been really disappointed with the lack of great youth academy players we've had so far. So the board have really laid down some tough objectives this season on the pitch, in our transfer policy, and for the youth academy as well. But I really like it as well. It's going to be a very tough season, especially with the lack of money. So, as the board alluded to in the transfer policy, if we do get some big bids for our players, start cashing in to raise the money money that way. And 3 days into the transfer window, we had a big bid for him last season from Carlo Ancelotti's Everton. We rejected it because the board said don't cash in on our star players and keep the core here. But this season they say if we get a bid well over the odds for one of our players, cash in, raise the money that way, because they want to skim a bit of money off the top, of course. So Omar Richards approached by Hoffenheim. 2 years ago they had Ryan Sessegnon on loan from Spurs, and here now they want another English left-sided player to come in and fill that gap. They agree a £62.5 million plus a 9% sell-on clause with us as well. That is a really awesome deal, and as much as we love Omar, I gotta say, man, this is the only way we're going to get the money in our transfer budget to make some proper signings. The board have said as well, start cashing on our players if we get some really good deals available. And of course, these sort of players are so good and still quite young as well. They want to be playing European football too. I think Hoffenheim are a Europa League standard team at this point in the game as well. So yeah, I think it really sort of makes sense for the realism as well. Stefan Bell is going to go to Dijon as well. We're not going to get quite as much money for him, but he's on quite a high contract as well for a centre-back. It's only 71 rated now, 30 years old. But the big sale there, Omar Richards, he's off to Germany for 62.5 mil, and I am pretty gutted about it. Now I've got to be honest here, out of all the players we've signed for this series, I think Omar has been my favourite, or I should say Omar was my favourite. I absolutely loved him. Our first signing of the series way back in episode 1. He's been amazing. But the fact of the matter is, we need the money. We need the money. We need to start strengthening this team all over, really. And again, the board did say, start cashing in if you get a really good deal for that player. We did. 62.5 mil. And again, don't forget the 9% sell-on clause as well. That's well over his market valuation. He's only 23 years old, 81 rated already. I would have loved to have kept him. We had to go what the board said there. Omar is off to Hoffenheim. Thank you for your service, Omar. Who knows? Maybe he'll come back one day. I'd certainly like that. But Omar is off. And a huge, absolutely huge sale to start the transfer window. Now following that as well, we did decide to try and make our first signing of the window, and I've been talking about a new striker for this QPR team. We need one. We don't have an out-and-out goal scorer. We were the league's lowest scorers last year with just 40 goals in 38 games. Pretty embarrassing, all things considered. And there were 2 players that I wanted to come in and be our new starting striker in this team to hopefully get us the goals we need this season to have a better season this year, both in the league and also try and win a first major honour as well. 2 signings I wanted. I showed you one at the end of last season, Myron Boadu of now relegated West Brom, and also Eddie Nketiah, who now plays for Wolfsburg. And very briefly on this as well, guys, I do want to apologise. I didn't realise this, but I thought Nketiah signed for Wolfsburg last season. It was only when I went over the footage that I realised he actually joined for this transfer window, and now in this FIFA career mode you can sign players even if they just signed in the same transfer window. I didn't realise that myself, so I do have to apologise. I thought that Nketiah was playing for Wolfsburg last season. In the end, it was only when I went past and looked at previous footage I found out he was still playing for Arsenal until the very end of the season. And as you can see, as West Brom would not negotiate a decent deal for Myron Boadu, again, we don't want to spend way over the odds for our players. They were not budging on £49 million, which would have set a new record by quite some distance for most expensive sale from the Championship. I was not going to pay £49 million when his market valuation was just over 30. So in the end, I opted to go for Nketiah, and we picked up the former Arsenal striker on a 5-year, £40,000 a week deal. I didn't think it would be too realistic for him to take a major pay cut, and also as well, we're going to pretend that he's never played for Wolfsburg and we were signing him here from Arsenal, because that's a lot more realistic, him coming from Arsenal instead of Wolfsburg instead. So yeah, once again, I do apologise. I thought he was at Wolfsburg for last season. It was only when I went over the old footage that I realised he actually signed for Wolfsburg in this transfer window. That is my mistake. I do apologise, but again, we're going to pretend we signed him from Arsenal and not Wolfsburg, because that's a lot more realistic. You know, you've seen in recent seasons, you know, the likes of Dominic Solanke going to Bournemouth, Ryan Brewster for this season going to Sheffield United. Young English strikers, hungry for game time, hungry for a chance to prove themselves and you know, prove their worth at a new club, a mid-table to bottom half of the table Premier League side. And Nketiah is the latest to do that. He joins us, £37.5 million, 5-year deal, 40 grand a week. And listen, it's a gamble. Nketiah has not got a good goal to game ratio at club club level. It's weird though, because he's done really well at international level. In fact, I think he broke a goal scoring record for the England under-21s. So he knows how to put the ball in the back of the net. He just hasn't done it so far at Arsenal or at his brief loan spell at Leeds United. I'm hopeful he's going to have a home here in West London. He's not going to have to travel far to move to us, because that deal to Wolfsburg fell through and he came to us from Arsenal instead. But yeah, hopefully he'll get the goals here. I'm certainly hopeful. It's a big gamble though, as our new number 9 comes in on 40 grand a week. But as the big drama continued in this transfer window, once again we had another big bid for one of our star players. Bright Osei Samuel approached by Hertha Berlin, and we agreed a £49 million deal for the captain, which is way over his current market valuation. And as much as we've loved Bright, again, as the board say, if we get bids for our players that are way over the market valuation, you gotta consider cashing in and raising the money that way. They told us at the start of the season they ain't gonna give us money in the summer transfer window budget, because why would they? Last season we didn't have much money, and we still had a great season. So once again, they're saying you're working on a shoestring budget, do what you can, work your magic in the transfer window. If that means selling some players, then sell some players. So Bright is on his way to the Olympia Stadion, but one player coming in this season to join Eddie Nketiah is Chris Metham. The Welsh centre-back is coming in from Bournemouth for £9 million. This is an absolute steal for the 24-year-old here. Relegated from Bournemouth last season, we snap him up for £9 million. For quite a realistic signing as well, a player going down to the Championship, but has enough ability to play in the Premier League. And yeah, I like his stats a lot. He's certainly got some decent ability, and part of our back four as well. We don't really need new centre-backs after how good we were last season, but after selling Stephen Bell, I wanted a new second/third choice, and I thought this was a really great deal, financially speaking, for the London-born Welsh international. Regardless, Bright Osei Samuel has indeed left the club and has gone to Hertha Berlin, so farewell to the captain. He's gone for £49 million, a deal which again was just too good to turn down. So he and Omar are going to have battles in the Bundesliga. You gotta love that. But again, that's £17.5 million over his current market valuation. Yes, only 24 years old, 81 rated, but again, I just felt as though with the board saying to us in the transfer policy that if we do get big bids for our star players, and you know, players that can play in a European standard as well, we're not at a European football level at the moment, so I was okay cashing in on both of them. They're gone to greener pastures in Germany, as Jack Byrne also goes as well. We're selling everyone from season 1. He's off to Celta Vigo. I didn't think he had enough ability to be a regular starter in this team. He certainly wasn't last season, or even back in season 1 either, so we've let Jack Byrne go to Spain for a much cheaper deal. But as his contract's not come the end of the year, I was okay with that, and I already had a replacement lined up as well, because I found him in the free agents pool. Yes, Jack Harrison was released by Leeds United at the end of the season last year, 25 years old, but 77 rated, and whilst that is 4 ratings lower than Bright Osei Samuel, and he's a year older as well, it's not that much of a step down. His wages are cheaper, and on a free transfer as well, that's an absolute bargain. Welcome to the Kai and Prince Foundation Stadium, Jack Harrison, and as we like Bull as an inside forward on the left-hand side, Jack can be an inside forward on the right, with the pace he's got, the great ball control and dribbling, and also as well the left foot too, plus the 4-star skill moves, very nice indeed. So Jack Harrison arrives on a free transfer, but again, after the sales of Osei Samuel and Richards as well, despite the signing of Nketiah, we still had around £70 million in our transfer budget remaining for the rest of the summer transfer window. Gutted to sell 2 fans' favourites in the same transfer window, but I gotta be honest here, the board didn't really give me much choice for season 3, and it's what they wanted as well. And the players deserve to be playing, you know, for bigger clubs and players who can play in European football. I'd say we're still like 2, maybe 3 seasons away before we're playing a European competition. So yeah, I just felt personally it was probably a bit realistic, and also as sad as it was financially, it made great sense for the club as well. Chris Willock has agreed a new 4-year deal though. He signs a 20 grand a week extension to take us to 5 years in total, as does Charlie Kelman as well. He's only going to get paid like 3 grand a week, a bit less than that I think, but the American still has a lot to prove, and I still believe in him as well. So Kelman is staying along with Willock as well. And also we had our first scouting update from England for the new year as well, and I've got to be honest, honest here. I really think EA have made it harder to find good players when youth scouting, and I kind of like that as well, because in previous FIFAs it was just a bit too easy to sign, you know, to find, I should say, star players with 90 plus potential, you know, scouting update after scouting update. Now it seems a lot more difficult. No one from this scouting update. This is our academy for season 3. The best 2 players so far: Jude Heath, the young goalkeeper, and also Cameron Wilkinson, a young centre half as well. I keep showing his full stats because he's already 64 rated, and now he has turned 16. I probably will give him a pro deal very soon. We also had our final scouting update from America as well, after 9 months we spent there in America. I haven't really picked up anyone too good so far, but one of the players here, Tremblay, could be pretty decent. We'll take a look at him in the academy next month. Regardless, for a new left back in this team on the back of selling Omar to Hertha Berlin, sorry, not Hertha Berlin, to Hoffenheim. Sorry, Hoffenheim was Osei Samuel who went to Hertha Berlin. I have to remember that for the Bundesliga games. But regardless, after selling Omar to Germany right at the start of the transfer window, I did want a new left back. I had 2 names on the shortlist I was really keen on: Ryan Sessegnon, who of course used to play for Hoffenheim on loan there from Spurs, and also Jamal Lewis of Newcastle United as well. Now, I agreed the same deal with both clubs here. Jose Mourinho and I agreed on a £30 million deal, and with Steve Bruce it was the exact same figure, £30 million for Jamal Lewis. I wasn't really sure which would be more realistic. They're both the same overall, but Sessegnon is 2 years younger, and again I wasn't sure which one made more sense for the realism. The fee would have been the exact same, the wages would probably be a little bit higher for Sessegnon, but I really didn't know who to bring in here. Again, realism was the key, and obviously with Jamal Lewis, the Magpies last season finished 1 place above us in the table in 12th. For Spurs, of course, though, as we know, they last year finished in a Champions League spot. I thought personally, whilst I could see Sessegnon going to a club that are sort of like mid-table in the Premier League in a few years' time if he doesn't develop too well, but as you see by his stats, he is developing really well. 79 overall at just 22 years old. He's come back from his loan spell at Hoffenheim. He's doing really well there in real life as well. I thought personally, I think Sessegnon, as he still has years left on his contract, would probably want to stay at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and try and become a regular and the first choice left back there. I know they've got Sergio Reguilon, but I could definitely see him battling to become the starting left back at that team. Whereas I thought Jamal Lewis, the Northern Irish international, again born in England, born in Luton I believe, but playing for his Northern Irish country, playing for the Northern Ireland country. I thought Jamal Lewis was a bit more realistic, to be honest. Again, the Magpies, obviously, as we know right now, they're a mid-table, bottom half-table club, just like us. Last season they only finished above us by a single place. I thought Jamal Lewis was a bit more realistic, to be honest, as we bring him to the Kyan Prince Foundation Stadium for a £30 million deal on a 5-year contract. And once again, the contract not expensive whatsoever. We are really doing a great job of making sure we don't put players on really high wages. So I opted for Jamal Lewis. Personally, I think Sessegnon would have been a better choice, but again, for realism's sake, I think I made the right call there, and that is the key, realism. I think Lewis is probably a bit more realistic than Ryan Sessegnon. Regardless, the final thing we did was we saw yet another big bid for one of our young stars. Max Aarons wanted by Lazio, but decided to reject it. I know, despite the board saying, you know, feel free to cash in on those players, I just couldn't bear to sell 3 great players so early on in the transfer window. So I'm keeping Max Aarons here for the time being, but as there's still many weeks to go in the summer transfer window, as we've just entered August, there's £38 million in the budget. This summer transfer window, as dramatic as it's been already, is still far from over. But that was this episode of the PS5 Career Mode, guys. So big thank you for watching. Really hope you have enjoyed this dramatic episode, and if you have, then please do drop a like. Much love to you all. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you for next episode very soon, featuring the first games of the Premier League season and some more transfer business as well, with 2 new signings coming in very soon.